speed skating is not a sport that most people outside the Netherlands watch with any regularity. It is fast, technical, and takes place on an indoor oval that looks to a casual observer like a very long version of a high school gym floor made of ice. The athletes wear full-body suits that make them look like they are competing in a futuristic sport from a science fiction film. The commentary requires you to understand split times and pairs and inner and outer lanes just to follow what is happening. And then Jutta Leerdam happened to the 2026 Winter Olympics, and suddenly millions of people who had never watched speed skating a day in their lives were watching speed skating. She won gold in the 1,000 meters. She broke the Olympic record by nearly 0.3 of a second. She unzipped her orange and blue racing suit immediately after crossing the finish line to reveal a white Nike sports bra underneath in a moment that marketing experts estimated was worth over $1 million in brand exposure in a single second. She cried. Her fiancé Jake Paul was in the stands and he cried harder. Dutch King Willem-Alexander climbed down from the royal box and asked her for a selfie. And then she went and won silver in the 500 meters a week later. She left Milan with 2 Olympic medals, an Olympic record, a viral unzipped moment, a crying celebrity fiancé, and a royal fan. And if you still do not know who Jutta Leerdam is, you are about to. Let us start with who she was before the viral moments. Because the charisma and the celebrity and the Jake Paul relationship are all real. But they are not the foundation. The foundation is the skating. Jutta Leerdam was born in 1999 in the Netherlands, a country where speed skating is not a niche sport but a national religion. The Dutch have dominated the discipline globally for decades. Their youth development programs are among the best in the world. The competition for spots on the national team is brutal. And within that system, Leerdam emerged as a prodigy. She burst onto the international scene in 2017 as the World Junior All-Round Champion. She was 18. By 2020 she had captured her first senior world title in the 1,000 meters. She won the 1,000-meter world title again in 2021 and 2022. By the time the 2022 Beijing Olympics arrived, she was already a 6-time world champion and one of the most decorated speed skaters of her generation. At Beijing she won silver in the 1,000 meters. 1 spot off the gold. The story of an athlete who had won everything at the world championship level but had not yet closed the deal at the Olympics. That gap, between world-level dominance and Olympic gold, is the gap that defines careers. The gap Jutta Leerdam spent the next 4 years closing. But the road to Milan was not clean. It almost came apart before it started. At the Dutch Olympic trials, the competition that determines who represents the Netherlands at the Games, Leerdam fell. A fall at the trials is not a minor inconvenience. It is a potential career-ending moment in the context of the Olympic cycle. The Dutch selection process is not sentimental. You perform on the day or you do not go. And Leerdam had not performed on the day the way she needed to. She made the team. The selectors looked at her full body of work, her 6 world titles, her Beijing silver, her track record of competing at the highest level, and they kept her on the roster. It was the right call. But there were genuine questions about whether she was ready, whether the fall had damaged her confidence, whether she would be able to produce in Milan what she had produced everywhere else. She said before the Games that she told herself she had 80 years to recover from the race. That is not nothing. That is someone who has learned how to manage the pressure of elite competition at the highest level by putting it in a life context that makes it bearable. I have 80 years to recover from whatever happens on that ice. Go fast now. She went very fast. February 9, 2026. The women's 1,000 meters. Milan Speed Skating Stadium. The event was set up perfectly for drama because of the way speed skating competitions work. Athletes skate in pairs, with later pairs generally skating under greater pressure as the times to beat are already posted. Leerdam skated in the final pairing of the day, against Japan's Miho Takagi. Before Leerdam stepped onto the ice, her Dutch teammate Femke Koch had just skated a 1 minute 12:59 seconds, breaking the Olympic record. Koch's time was up on the scoreboard when Leerdam came out. Her own teammate had just set the new standard. In the same event. Minutes earlier. Now Leerdam had to beat it. By the 600-meter mark she was already ahead of Koch's time. She powered through the final stretch. She crossed the line. Her time was 1 minute 12.31 seconds. A new Olympic record. By 28/100ths of a second. She had seen her teammate's record go up and she had broken it in the same session. She collapsed immediately when she saw her time. She said afterward that it was surreal. That she still could not believe it. That it was just a dream come true. And in the stands, Jake Paul was crying. Not politely. Not dabbing his eyes. Sobbing. Openly, completely, his face red, tears streaming, surrounded by Leerdam's family who could not stop crying either. The man who built his entire persona on being aggressive and unflappable and louder than anyone else in any room was sitting in a speed skating stadium in Milan falling completely apart because the woman he loves had just broken an Olympic record and won a gold medal. He posted about it immediately. He wrote, "From now on call me Jutta Leerdam's fiancé." No irony. No performance. Complete sincerity. And then came the unzip. Leerdam stood on the finish line after winning and celebrating, and she reached up and unzipped her Fila racing suit by several inches, revealing a white Nike sports bra underneath. The camera caught it. The image spread across social media within minutes. Nike reposted it on their Instagram with the caption, "When you are this fast you do not ask for permission." Nike praised her for the move. Marketing expert Frédéric Delot, founder of a female athlete marketing agency, estimated the unzip moment was worth over $1 million in brand exposure. A single gesture. 1 second after winning the Olympics. $1 million in brand value. Fila was not asked for permission. Neither was the Dutch Olympic Federation. Leerdam just did it. Because she is the kind of athlete who understands that she is not just a speed skater. She is a cultural presence. A brand. Someone who understands that every second on that ice is also a stage and that using the stage intelligently is part of what modern elite athletics actually requires. She is not the first athlete to have this understanding, but she might be the most instinctive about it. The unzip was not planned by a marketing team sitting in a boardroom. It was Jutta Leerdam, in the moment of the biggest win of her career, being exactly who she is. And who she is happens to be worth $1 million a second when the cameras are on. Then the Dutch king came down. King Willem-Alexander and Queen Maxima were in attendance at the Milan speed skating stadium for the event. And after Leerdam's victory, instead of having Leerdam brought to them in the formal way that royals usually receive athletes, they did the opposite. They climbed down from the stands, from their official royal position, to the trackside, and requested a selfie with Jutta Leerdam. She is so famous in the Netherlands, such a central figure in Dutch sporting culture, that the royal family wanted a photo with her. Not the other way around. She has more than 6 million Instagram followers. Her cultural reach extends into fashion, beauty, wellness, and luxury brands in ways that no other speed skater in history has managed to build. She was described by Yahoo Sports as the sport's one true rock star. A cultural and social media sensation who was already an international icon even before she began dating Jake Paul. There is a line in Leerdam's Instagram post after the games that deserves more attention than it received. She wrote a long caption reflecting on the Olympics and what they meant to her. She talked about her parents, her coach, her family, her fans. And toward the beginning of the post she described filming a video in the Olympic Village before the competition started. She said she took the first video with the thought of showing her future kids one day. She did not know she would be filming an even better one just 2 weeks later. She was in the Olympic Village before any of it had happened. Before the gold medal. Before the record. Before the unzip. Before Jake Paul crying in the stands. Before the Dutch king selfie. And she was already thinking about her future children. About being able to show them what their mother was before she became whatever she was about to become. That is not an athlete obsessed with performance. That is a person who knows exactly how to hold the present moment while keeping her eyes on a life that extends beyond any single race. She said before she started this journey she had already won in life by having the most amazing people around her. That even if she had not won any medals she would have won in life because of the people she had. And then she went and won 2 medals anyway. She thanked Jake Paul in the post specifically. She thanked him for being there for her. For listening to her talk about a sport he did not even know before they met, every single day. For letting her be her. For supporting her along the journey. She called him the loving man you are. Jake Paul was knocked out by Anthony Joshua in a boxing match in December 2025 and suffered a broken jaw. He had surgery and was still recovering when the Olympics started. He flew to Milan anyway. He was in the stands every session she skated. He cried when she won. He posted "From now on call me Jutta Leerdam's fiancé." He lifted her onto his shoulder and carried her to a private jet when the games were over, posting the clip with the same caption. The man who broke his jaw fighting Anthony Joshua 3 months earlier was reduced to tears in a speed skating arena in Italy because his fiancée broke an Olympic record. And the internet loved every second of it. She is 27 years old. She has 3 Olympic medals. She has 6 world championship titles. She has a record-breaking Olympic performance that will be the first result when anyone searches her name for the rest of her career. She has a viral moment that a marketing expert valued at over $1 million. She has a royal selfie. She has a fiancé with a broken jaw who flew across the world to watch her cry. And she has a video she took in the Olympic Village before any of it happened, saved for the children she and Jake Paul talk about wanting, so they can see their mother standing on the precipice of something extraordinary before the extraordinary thing actually arrived. She said becoming Olympic champion completes her list of dreams. She said she feels very fulfilled. She said let this journey called life continue and make the next chapter even more beautiful. Jutta Leerdam won at the Olympics. But she seems to already know that winning at the Olympics is just one part of a much bigger story she is still in the middle of writing. And whatever comes next, you are going to want to watch.